In this video, I'm going to show you how to use Photoshop to take one of your secret Life of Toys photos and create this extremely shallow depth of field and the bokeh effect, similar to one of our inspiration artists, Leah Minium. So you can see in her artwork, this one has kind of large bokeh effect, the circular kind of dappled shapes in the background, and this one has kind of smaller bokeh effect. So let's go to Photoshop and see how to do that. So this is my example finished, and here is the beginning image. So first of all, I'm going to check the level. So over here in the adjustment panels, I'm going to click the second button over, and actually the levels don't need to be adjusted. There's the black area looks fine and the white area looks fine. So I'm going to take this levels adjustment layer and just throw it in the trash. Wasn't necessary for this particular image. So the other thing I'm going to do is evaluate the sharpness of focus, and I think actually the cat's face is a little bit blurry, so I am going to go ahead and sharpen this. So under Filter, Sharpen, Unsharp Mask, I'm going to click the minus sign until I get the part that I want to see in detail. I'm going to set the amount to 80 and the radius to 2.3. Those are the highest numbers in general that you want to go on an image. If you go above that, you risk over sharpening the image and making it look really fake. And in this case, I think that my image can use the whole amount. Yours could be different. Your values might be less than these numbers. It all depends on your image. So I'm going to go ahead and click OK. And let's go ahead and take a look at the history. So under Window, History, let me pull this open. Let's see the before, blurry, and after, little bit sharpened up. So again, a subtle difference, but all of that attention to detail makes an outstanding photo, so it's worth the effort. I'm going to go ahead and close this menu so it's out of the way, and on my keyboard I'm going to hit Control-0 so that my image will fill the whole screen. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and create the bokeh effect by using the brush tool. Make sure you choose this one and not this one down here with the arrow swooshing over it. This is the history brush tool. You do not want that one. You want just the regular brush tool right here. So under the brush panel, I'm going to go ahead and choose, let's see, one of these hard-edged brushes right here. I'll choose number 19. I'm going to hit Enter to make that menu go away. And when I hover the cursor over this black area, you can see that brush is actually really small. So on the keyboard next to the P key are the bracket keys. One bracket makes the brush bigger, and the other bracket makes it smaller. So I'm going to go for, let's say about this size, which is size 400. Okay, so now that I have my size set, I'm going to go to Window and open the brush panel. So the first thing that I'm going to click on is brush tip shape. And I'm going to go ahead and go down here to the spacing slider, and I'm going to drag it until I have a little bit of space in between the dots. Then I'm going to go ahead and go to Shape Dynamics and click on the word. I'm going to set the size jitter to 100% so you can see that's giving me different size dots. I'm going to click on Scattering, and I'm going to put a check mark where it says both axes, and I'm going to make it 1000%. The next thing that I'm going to check on is Other Dynamics, and Opacity Jitter I'm going to go ahead and make that 100%. So some of the dots will be transparent and some of them will be solid. Now I'm going to go back to, oh shoot, I can't remember, shape dynamics. Oh no, brush tip shape. And on the spacing, I'm going to play around with that until I get a nice cluster of dots. Looks pretty good there. Now I'm going to go double check shape dynamics. I'm going to play around with the minimum diameter until I get some large dots and some small dots. Okay, and other dynamics, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and leave that at 100. And I think that's where I'm going to stop. Everything else, I'm going to leave it the same. So down here at the bottom, I'm going to click this Create New Brush button, and I'm going to name this Bokeh. And click OK. I'm going to close this menu because I don't need it anymore. Now, over here in the Layers panel, I am going to go down here to the bottom and click this button, which creates a new layer. So you can see layer 1, this little checkerboard pattern symbolizes that it's transparent. So now with my newly made bokeh brush, I'm going to just click and drag. Whoops, I need to make it white. So Control Z to undo that. I'm going to go down here and click this arrow so that white's on top, and let's try that again. So click and drag. I don't like it on the cat's face, so I'm going to undo that, Control Z, and let's try it again. Click and drag, click and drag. Okay, let's go ahead and stop there. That's our first layer. Over here in the Layers panel, right here where it says Normal, pop this menu open and choose Overlay. So that has softened the effect of the bokeh a little bit. The next thing that I'm going to do is blur the bokeh slightly. So I'm going to go to Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur, and let's try 10, and I'll click OK. Alrighty, so now I'm going to make another layer, and I'm going to go ahead and make the brush size a little bit larger by clicking the bracket that's next to the P key on the keyboard. And I'm going to drag some more bokeh on here. And this time I'm going to change the blend mode from normal to soft light. And again, I'm going to go to Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur, and this time I'm going to only blur it 5 pixels and click OK. Alright, so the last thing that I'm going to do is blur this a little bit more. That is, if we go back and look at our inspiration artist, you can see the extreme blurriness of the foreground and the background, and the only part that's in focus is the middle ground. Now I actually think that mine is already pretty blurry in the front and the back, so I don't think mine necessarily needs it, but I'm going to show you how to do it anyway in case yours does. So I'm going to click on the background layer, hold it and drag it down to the new layer button, so now I have a copy. This copy I'm going to blur. Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur. Let's click the minus sign until we can see the image. And let's see, I'll go ahead and go with 15 and click OK. Alright, so now I have this really blurry copy on top, and I have the in focus copy on the bottom. So what I'm going to do is take the eraser tool and set it to a soft brush, like maybe this 300 right here. I'm going to hit the enter key to make the menu go away, and I'm going to make it bigger by using the bracket key. And I'm just going to erase this part right here, erase where the head is at, erase the back. So that has kind of created a similar effect as the inspiration artist. So you can see what I did if I turn off the eyeball here. I basically erased through the really blurry one so that you can see the in focus one behind it. So if I turn off the eyeball on the one that I made blurry, you can see the difference. So I'm turning that on and off, and you can see the effect that it has. Alrighty, so what I'm going to do now is go to File, Save, and I will call this Secret Life of Toys Bokeh Effect, and I will save. Let's see, I already have one, so I'm going to call this Bokeh Effect 2. And I'm working at home, so I'm just going to save it to my desktop, but you should save it to your folder on the P drive. I'm going to leave the format Photoshop document and click Save, click OK. Okay, now I'm going to go to File, Save As, and I'm going to call it Bokeh Effect Web, and I'm going to make it a JPEG, and click Save. Quality size 6, which is medium, and click OK. Now I'm going to go ahead and open that. File, Open, find the one that says Web. Let's see, where is it? Bokeh. Ah, there it is. Alright, so Secret Life of Toys Bokeh Effect 2 Web. And I'm going to go to Image, Image Size, make it 9 inches, click OK, save it. Now I'm going to go to my portfolio. I'm on my Photoshop tab. I'm going to click New Post. Okay, slow internet connection. Where it says Untitled, I'm going to put Secret Life of Toys Bokeh Effect. And I'm going to insert image, upload, go to the spot where I saved it, find it, oh, there it is. I'm going to call it Bokeh Effect. Click OK. Save my changes. Alright, there we go. That's it for now.